I've got a lot of time for Bethnal Green, largely because it's where I first ever lived when I moved to London 25 years ago. And the underground station here, unfortunately, was the scene of the worst civilian casualties during the Second World War, which I'll talk about on another video next year. But it was originally a medieval hamlet around this crossroads. Eventually had a couple of big sort of mansions. There's an asylum here. Weavers moved in. There's Weavers Field still. Just next door, early 19th century church, St John's Church. When this was built, this was becoming a sort of slum area. And the green bit of Bethnal Green, you still get gardens on either side. I think this was part of a trust that was set up in the late 17th century. And when I was living here, the Young V&A was the Museum of Childhood, opened in 1872 and is the largest collection of childhood-related objects in the UK. And next door, York Hall, opened in 1929 as a sort of bathhouse for the local people. It's synonymous with boxing. There's no point even mentioning all the boxers that are fought there. It is the spiritual home of boxing. It's amazing, actually. Bethnal Green's always had a history of boxing. Some very early 20th century social housing in the area. Old Ford Road, as the name would suggest, was a river crossing over the River Lee. The Approach, I used to go to the Approach all the time, 1860s pub. And amazing, I was there so long ago that this guy here, who's called Harry King, was actually still serving there. There's an art gallery upstairs, actually. Great pub, some lovely old 19th century house. This pub here, the Camel, I was very unpolitely told that I wasn't welcome in that pub. Similarly in the Florist, lots of people not welcome there. And now they're super hipster pub. Globe Road, this was where I lived, opposite the Buddhist Centre. Used to be a fire station. And it is Roman Road, this. It was a Roman road out to Colchester. I think it had a big connection with the suffragettes in the early 20th century. And more recently, the grime scene and Dizzy Rascal. And then Bethnal Green Road. I wanted to mention W. English and Sons, which is the funeral directors that have been around for over 200 years. The Kray twins, they did their funeral service, and their brother Charlie. And I used to live at one point here, and our lounge overlooked this. And I remember very specifically, I think it was one of their henchmen in the early 2000s, if you use the word henchman, had his funeral service. They just blocked off the whole street, not a police person in sight, tailbacks for miles, no one said anything. And I was watching an old woman remonstrating with effectively a sort of big bouncer kind of guy. They were lining the street, and he just picked her up and walked her over to the other side of the road and dropped her down. And incredible, the sort of stranglehold on the area that they still had 40 years after their sort of heyday. So yeah, Bethnal Green in East London.